Ladies and gentlemen, on the ShrekGaming.com video, it is Christmas Day, and there are some deals to be had on Steam. Not particularly great deals, I've got to say. I mean, they're okay, but not as good as you'd expect, considering it is the season and all of that stuff. But anyway, let's get on with things, shall we? I guess we might as well start with probably the best or the biggest deal. That would be Call of Duty Advanced Warfare for 25% off. That would bring it to 30 Great British Pounds or $45 US. Not a massive saving, quite frankly, but it's not too bad. Here's the deal with it. If you've previously liked Call of Duties, then you're probably going to like Advanced Warfare. If you've never enjoyed Call of Duty, it's not your thing, you don't like the gameplay, you don't like Twitch shooters, whatever the reason, you're not going to feel turned on. But if you were, say, turned off by Ghosts, and let's face it, pretty much everyone was, and you wanted kind of Call of Duty to return to good form, Advanced Warfare's it. If, on the other hand, you know, Call of Duty's never done it for you, then kind of the advanced futuristic setting isn't going to do it, really. I quite like the way the story's told. I quite like the gameplay. But let's face it, most people are going to be wanting to play this from a multiplayer perspective. So that's just something to bear in mind. Anyway, let's continue, shall we? South Park Stick of Truth, 66% off, which is $13.59 or $13.59. So, yeah, that's pretty weird, right? Us Brits and Americans get to pay the same price. So either Americans get to an incredible deal or us Brits get absolutely screwed. I'm not sure which one it is, but either way, South Park Stick of Truth. I would give you the tagline of, if you like the TV show, you're going to like the game. The game itself is pretty solid. Amata has played it quite extensively as far as I'm aware. I think she's put a couple of episodes of it on the channel, so go ahead and check it out if you want more information. As far as I understand, the PC port is pretty good as well. Oh, and that also goes doubly for Advanced Warfare. The PC port is pretty solid. So, yeah, you might want to give it a shot if you're a fan of South Park. If you're not, if it's never turned you on as a, as a viewer, then you're probably not going to be best served here. Next one would be Grid. I'm not doing these in any real order. $6.24 if you're paying in Great British Pounds. If you're paying in US dollars, it's going to cost you $10. So, of course, what is Grid Motorsport? Well, it's, a racing game. I know that's a shocker. And it's kind of in the vein of Toka Touring cars and so on. It scores fairly well. The graphics are quite nice. The PC versions are pretty good. It's a reasonably recent title. So, it's not anything amazingly innovative. It's a pretty solid game. It looks fairly beautiful. So if you're someone who likes to take like high resolution, shots and kind of show them off and what your rig can do, then this is definitely one of those games for you. As I said, I'm not someone who really plays racing games that much, but it's got the usual Codemasters air of expertise. So if you're looking for a fairly recent or fairly decent, shall I say, solid racing game for the PC, you can't really ask for more. Next one is Contagion. This one is going to come to you at $5 US, or if you're paying Great British Pounds, it's going to cost you $3.74, which isn't too bad, roughly what you'd expect. So what is Contagion? Well, it's been pretty synonymous actually with the Steam sale of late, and the basic premise here is that it is yet another zombie apocalypse type shooter situation. You basically select from a couple of different characters, and then you've got various different modes, for example, escape and hunt. Typically the escape mode is the one that most of the time you're going to probably want to be playing. It's more PvE than anything. As far as I understand, it's fairly good online. There's quite a few people still playing it. It's got a fairly positive online score. It's got local co-op as well, which is always nice, and it's basically co-op orientated. So if you're a fan of the Left 4 Dead / want more zombies type of outlook in life, then go ahead and pick it up. If you're all zombied out, then this is probably not going to be enough to change your mind, but hey. Next game, and one that I'm probably biased against going in, but Batman. So this one is Batman 3. This is the Lego series. This is $20.09, or if you're paying Great British Pounds, $13.39. Here's the thing with these games. The PC ports are usually reasonable. There's no real major issues. They do support local co-op. I don't like the presentation. I don't find myself particularly enthralled by the Lego type of humour, and honestly speaking, I find the gameplay too simplistic. With that said, they do have a fairly good solid fan base, and the games themselves are fairly well made. So it's kind of like, if you're buying for someone who's younger, or you just want a fun, no-nonsense kind of humor type of game, and this is the type of humor that appeals to you, then you're going to have a lot of fun. If on the other hand you're more of a serious gamer, or someone who doesn't like the whole Legos universe, such as myself, then you're going to be inherently biased going in. So that's probably the best way to describe that, to be totally honest. Speaking of the best way to describe that, what is the best way to describe Football Manager 2015? Which of course is the successor to many, many other in the series. It's going to cost you £33.49 or £20.09, which isn't bad. They've had numerous improvements in the way the series has kind of been built over the years, including a better match engine. It's got improvements on stats and everything else. Basically, the idea here is that you manage a football team. That would be British football, obviously. So Americans, for example, would call it soccer. So you've got the ability to basically improve management. You've got match day experience, new user interfaces. They've basically massively given it an overhaul, which they pretty much do in every version. Now, personally, I don't play it. I'm not really interested in British football. There is a demo available, so I'd recommend you check it out. I have a friend, however, that is completely addicted to this game, and quite literally some points he stays up until 2 AM playing it, or sometimes longer. So it's like, if this is the type of game that you feel that you could get hooked on, at least try the demo. That's what I'd recommend anyway. Next one, Planetary Annihilation, 80% off, which is a pretty good price actually, $4.59. Or if you're paying in US dollars, it's going to cost you $6. There's also digital versions as well, which you might want to check out should you so desire. So what is there to say about this game? Well, the basic premise is that you are supposed to be able to colonize and control galaxies, or should I say at the very least planets. In other words, you can pretty much take over planets, destroy planets, whatever the heck you want. But, how can I put this? People aren't very happy with it. I'm doing some Googling around. I haven't personally played this one, but from what I'm reading, a lot of people say that they just don't find the games polished. There's a lot of bugs apparently, there's some crashing issues, and quite honestly speaking, even people who have put a lot of work in aren't seeming to really enjoy the game. So, basically, some people call it, well, crap. Other people say it's fairly fun, but just a bit buggy. What I'd personally suggest, and it's roughly the same price. Actually, it's a little more expensive to be fair. I would personally recommend instead getting a Sins of the Solar Empire game, which is a very solid title. I have to say that I think it looks beautiful and so on and so forth. Next one would be Democracy Free. So Democracy Free. What would be the best way to describe this one? Basically, if you're a person who has an interest in politics, this is going to be the game for you. It's currently retailing at $5 US. That would be 80% off, and us Brits get to pay $3.79, which is pretty much the standard discrepancy in terms of how much we get to pay. Well, it's not really if you take account, of course, conversion rates and all of that jazz. So this is, the idea here is it's a political simulator. It's a very in-depth political simulator. So depending how interested you are with those first few lines are probably going to determine whether you want to buy the game or not. It's very in-depth. So you can basically control a country. You can ruin a country, you can basically make your country prosper. So if you are interested in this, you can, if you've never been interested in politics, you're probably not going to enjoy it. If on the other hand you have an interest in strategy, if you're interested in economics, in politics and all of that type of thing, you're probably going to love it. So it's really dependent on you and what your personality type is. From what I've heard and from people I know who've played it, never really enjoyed it. I personally haven't played it, simply because, to be honest with you, I just don't have the time to sink into it. It's that simple. Anyway, Train Fever is next. 40% off, $20.99. That would be dollars. If you're paying in Great British pounds, we're paying £12. So it's a bit of a discrepancy between Americans and UK. Americans are paying a little bit too much in the good old conversion rates, but whatever. I don't know if I'd personally recommend this. I'm biased automatically, quite frankly, because I don't like train simulators and any of that jazz. But I've been hearing kind of mixed things about the game anyway. Basically speaking, well, how can I put it? I've heard issues with the user interface, I've heard issues with performance, artificial intelligence, and so on and so forth. Basically, the game isn't particularly well made, is what I've heard. Now, some of that obviously could be patched. The basic premise, from what I understand, is that it will go through the history of trains. So, in other words, it will start out from the very early times and then go to modern train systems, which maybe, if that's your thing, could be extremely interested. But as I said, not hearing that great things about it. Anyway, I'm going to quickly blast through the new deals. There's every 12 hours. I'm just going to give you a yay or a nay of whether they're good or not. Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition. It's currently available for... what is it available for? $6.79. Green Man Gaming. I'm not going to go through all of the Green Man Gaming stuff because I did this just the other day. And I basically went through all of them, so there's no point in me going through everything all over again. But Green Man Gaming have exactly the same deal if you happen to miss it, at $6.79. So basically, what I'm saying is I went through all of the Green Man stuff yesterday and said whether it was good or not. But Sleeping Dogs is also on Green Man Gaming for exactly the same price, but you can make it cheaper than this by actually adding a code which is available on Green Man's front page, which basically reduces it by 20%. So what I'm saying is that, why not? Anyway, next one will be Legend of Grimrock 2. Oh, Sleeping Dogs is a pretty good game, and the Definitive Edition is actually pretty nice as well. It's probably not worth buying if you already own the original Sleeping Dogs on the PC, however. Legend of Grimrock 2, $12.59. Very solid game, very fun, definitely worth it. Great series overall. We also have Gone Home, same thing, pretty nice title. I've heard good things about The Secret World. Personally, not interested in it, so at least give it a shot maybe for the price. It's no subscription either, which is nice. Dungeon Defenders, I've heard is really, really cool. Marta has played it quite extensively, if memory serves. And for 99p, you could probably do no wrong. And that's all I know. I've heard Test Drive Unlimited is okay, but I haven't played it personally. And that's about it, actually. Yes, that is all of them. Humble Bundle, if memory serves, let me just double check. Yep. Basically, Humble Bundle, their sales have gone, which is a bit of a shame, because I had some nice deals, but, you know, we can bid farewell to them. Green Man Gaming have their sale up, which is quite cool. I don't know how long that's going to last. A couple more days, a day maybe. So do get in there if you want. As I said, I went through all the Amazon stuff yesterday where they've got really cheap deals on Far Cry and some other titles. And I think that's about it. I have to just finish off by saying that I'm kind of disappointed actually with the Steam today. I expected a bit more. I actually think yesterday's deals, which weren't amazing, I grant you, but they were certainly better than today's. I think today's were a bit abysmal. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Take care. Bye for now.